Hey there, this is your girl Candace Duff coming at you all the way live from the sunny South Florida. And welcome to week 2. Actually, it's more like week 3 of the Three Rivers Challenge that I'm doing here on my channel. For those of you who don't know, Jessica over at Three Rivers Homestead, and she has her own channel, does a challenge every single year whereby people who participate basically cook from their refrigerators, their freezers, their pantries, if they have home canned goods and things of that nature, if they have Chester freezers, if they have gardens, and they basically vow not to shop, basically for, can I say basically enough times? Not to shop for the first 2 months of the year, of every year. And I'm participating in the challenge from my apartment here in Florida. So I'm an urban challenger. There are some people, most people have, acreage or farms or homesteads or what have you, and big old pantries, but I'm doing this in my freezer and my refrigerator and my cabinets over here in the kitchen. So for this week, I didn't cook a lot because I still, truth be told, have leftovers left, and we'll discuss that later on in the video from my last video, since I did that on Friday. So I still have leftovers that I'm eating or whatever, from that, especially the macaroni beef and some more of the blueberry bread. And so I'll have those things for like lunch today and maybe lunch over the next 2 days. I did, however, make another version, a vegan version of a breakfast burrito. So you'll be able to see that. And I made a chicken Alfredo bake. So pretty excited about that. And wait till you see what I did. I'm a maniac, so you get to watch a maniac cook, which is, hopefully it's entertaining to you. So, so I did that. All right. So without further ado, let's get cooking. So here I'm making my usual breakfast potatoes, and I basically took 2 russet potatoes, cut them up, and I seasoned them with paprika and salt, and I put some olive oil in here. And what I'm basically doing is making sure that the seasoning gets around to all of the potatoes. These are going to go into my breakfast burritos. And I'm making, this time, tofu breakfast burritos. So they'll be vegan. All right, I'm going to put these in the oven on 400 for about, 40 minutes, and then they'll be done. All right, so in this pot, I have tofu. And I like using the high protein tofu. And I'm going to have to turn down the heat in this pot, that don't burn it. Okay, so now I'm going to season that. And I'm using some of the Kinder's wood fire garlic because I love this flavor. I'm also using a teaspoon of chili powder. I can really use a tablespoon of chili powder. And I'm going to use some turmeric. Hopefully not all of it is stove like I just said. And when you use turmeric, you have to use pepper to activate it, black pepper, even white pepper. But there's something in the chemicals from the pepper to help flavor. And I'm going to use some nutritional yeast. And vegans love to use nutritional yeast, not just vegans, but especially vegans and vegetarians, because it gives protein as well as the cheesy type flavor to your foods. So I'm going to use half a cup of nutritional yeast, which is going to give us a major protein boost. So because I'm using the highest form of protein tofu, super firm, and because I'm using the nutritional yeast, this is going to boost the protein of this meal, out of which I'll get 3 to 4 servings, to the highest level, or to a very high level for a vegetarian dish. Not to mention it's just tasty, I don't know what, which is why I keep making it. So if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know why it means breakfast burritos. And this is pretty much the only way that I eat tofu. Um, I'm going to be experimenting with other ways to eat tofu that you see if I like it. But in terms of texture and stuff, this is the way I actually enjoy it, as opposed to just tolerate it. Right? So, and I think it's because of the texture. When you break it up like this, it's more like eating eggs. So this is supposed to be like a vegan scramble, pretty much. And tofu scramble was probably one of the first vegan dishes that I ever had where they used tofu. Now, I did enjoy it a lot. There was um a tofu dish that used to be at Whole Foods. It was like an orange chicken, and it was really good. I used to kill me some vegan or chicken from Whole Foods. So that's another way I enjoy it. So I guess it has to be heavily seasoned for me, heavily flavored, has to be cut right, cooked properly, and then I enjoy it. All right, so as you can see here, we are pretty much done. And I did that with the heat pretty much off, which is interesting. I guess there's a lot of heat in this pot. Let me just put it on for a split second to make sure. The tofu is pretty much cooked. It's already fermented. So really, I'm just seasoning it and making sure that every morsel has the seasoning. All right, I'm going to stop it here so that it doesn't dry out. And this is going to go into a bowl along with my potatoes and along with the second half of that sauce that I made last week, which was the vegan nacho cheese sauce. And then these are going inside of tortillas for breakfast burritos. And I'll bring you back. All right. So what I did was mix everything in here, which includes the tofu, the sauce from last week's, the nacho cheese sauce and last week's nacho cheese. As you can see here, the potatoes that I had in the oven, the breakfast potatoes that I typically make. And now I'm rolling breakfast burritos. And since I only have these small ones, I'm going to do 2 per breakfast. So I'm putting in the filling. I'm wrapping these up. That's 1. And this is 2. All right. So once I get 2 burritos in here, I pull it to the end. And then I wrap the entire 2 burritos up in the parchment paper, just like I'm rolling another burrito. And then I wrap them up in foil. And this is the best way to do it if you're planning on freezing the burritos. Use the foil and the parchment paper protect them inside the freezer bag. All right. All right, so I'm gonna finish wrapping these up, and then I'm gonna make one for this morning's breakfast. Actually, I'm gonna try something different. I have been wrapping these burritos up in the Extreme Wellness High Fiber Burrito, carb friendly from Olay, as you can see here. All right, from Olay, and these have 60 calories. Put that in here. Okay. These have 60 calories, and they have 16 grams of carbs, 12 grams of fiber, which makes them like 4 net carbs, and like 4 grams of protein per burrito. So these are only 60 calories. And these here I got from Aldi. These are protein burritos. from the Lovin brand, Lovin Fresh. And these have 120 calories, 7 net carbs, but 12 grams of protein per burrito. So these are the protein burritos from Aldi. All right, so I'm going to try one of these to see if they taste different and to see if they're worth it, because you get more protein out of them. So I'm actually going to wrap up. I think this is the last burrito I'm doing because these are a little bigger. Not much, but a little. Let us hope and pray I can get all this in here. All right, so let me see. These are sturdier, I can tell you that much. All right, so what I'm going to do is actually cook this or warm, brown it off in a pot and see and give it a taste test, see if it's better or worse than the other burritos. All right, so I put a little ghee in here along with a pinch of salt, and I'm basically just crisping these up. So in the mornings when I, want to have this, if I take them out of the refrigerator, for example, or if I take them out of the freezer and throw them out overnight, put them in the fridge, then I take them out and I nuke them in the microwave for like a minute and a half just to get the insides warm. And then I put them in here to crisp them up. So breakfast takes about 5 minutes. And then I just brown them. Basically, you put them seam side down first so they can brown up a little bit. And then you flip them. All right. And so the wraps that have 12 grams of protein, these are going to be even higher protein than the wraps that have only 4, obviously. But if I'm doing 2 of these smaller wraps, then these are 8 grams of protein just from the wraps themselves. Plus, I divided the tofu into 3 meals. Now, the whole block of tofu, super firm, has like 70 grams of protein. So that means we're doing like 23 grams of protein just from the tofu alone. In the case of the smaller wraps, we're doing 4 grams each for each wrap. So that adds 8, which makes this over a 30 gram of protein breakfast. With the wraps that are 12 grams of protein, obviously you get even more. Plus you get additional 3 or 4 grams of protein from the sauce that I made. The nacho cheese sauce is, if you recall, that has both cashews, which have some protein, and nutritional yeast, like a half cup of nutritional yeast in the sauce. And I used half the sauce, basically, in this bowl, and mix it in with the wraps. These are just crispy in general. So I'm turning off the heat so as not to burn these. And I'm going to go ahead and place them on a plate. You see the side pretty much browned up very nicely. I'm starting to see a little bit of smoke. I want these to fall apart. And we are now going to go do a little taste test. Back in the working area. All right, so let's see how these taste. This is hot on my fingers, but we'll try it. The wrap on the protein wrap is a slightly nuttier taste. I think it's more, I don't know if it's more whole grains in there or something. It's a slightly nuttier taste, but the texture isn't far off from the original, which is good. They're both delicious. The one with this wrap, it's going to take a little tiny bit of getting used to because it definitely is more dense and it definitely has a more nuttier taste or more of a whole grain taste than, say, the original wrap. But they're both delicious. So these are both good options for you. Because these wraps actually hold more filling, the larger wraps actually hold more filling, you may be able to get by with just one of these for breakfast and just put, more filling in there. Divide the filling evenly between 3 or 4 wraps, because now that each wrap has 12 grams of protein, you can actually divide the tofu among 4 wraps and still get a good protein boost for breakfast. All right. So I'm making a chicken casserole dish. Surprise, surprise. And I find that with chicken breast, sometimes this is some of the easier things to do. I'm not going to promise not to make any more casserole dishes, but I do have some Alfredo sauce that I need to use up. It says use or freeze by 110:25. And I don't want to put anything else in that freezer. So I'm pretty much going to be using it up. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm chopping up the chicken into pieces that I can go ahead and cut lengthwise so that these could be, kind of bite-sized pieces of chicken. And since I have to run the dishwasher anyway, I decided not to be a maniac and to use real dishes. So that's what I'm doing. To me, in the perfect world, they would have disposable knives, disposable plates that are cutting boards that I can cut on and just throw away and never have to run the dishwasher. Or better yet, cut up chicken will already come in bite-sized pieces and wouldn't be more expensive. Right? So just so as not to touch the meat, which is kind of maniacal, I know. But hey, I'm maniacal, what can I tell you? I find that casseroles are some of the easiest ways to make high protein dishes with chicken. Crock pot meals are another easy way. Doing it in the Instant Pot is another easy way. But this way, you get carbs, vegetables, protein in one dish, and you pretty much just stick it in the oven after you put in all the ingredients. And usually they're pretty decent with flavor because people have perfected over time how to infuse flavor into their casserole dishes. Whether that's using sausage, making your own sauces, or seasonings, or what have you. This one is really simple when it comes to um, labor, when it comes to seasonings, or what have you, because it pretty much only calls for like salt, onion powder, and garlic powder. And I'm using a pre-made Alfredo sauce, so that'll be easy too. Okay, so I cut these bad boys up into bite-sized pieces, and I'm going to throw them into this bowl for easy transport and for easy seasoning. And if they're too big of pieces or whatever, I'm going to chop them up a little bit smaller so that they cook evenly. All right. I'm going to get rid of one of the gloves and turn on the burner so that we can be ready to cook this and so that I can season the meat. All right. So I'm going to do like a teaspoon of onion powder and a teaspoon of garlic powder. This is the garlic powder. This is the onion powder. And I'm also going to use some Goya adobo. This will be the salt component for this meal. Salt and pepper. And then I'm just going to make sure the seasoning hits all aspects of the meat. Very simply seasoned dish, since most of the flavor is going to be in the Alfredo sauce, which I'm also seasoning with onion powder, garlic powder, and a little bit of. I might avoid the salt because I think it already has enough of that. And some basil and stuff. So we'll get with that. All right, so here's where our meat is seasoned. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this into the pot and brown it on all sides and then have it ready for our casserole while we prep the remaining ingredients. Be right back. All right, we put the brown this chicken on all sides. Some food in the chicken. And I love the brown things because although there's some research saying that browning things might be a little unhealthy for us, it really does taste good. And so, I am not gonna go against conventional wisdom when it comes to cooking. And I'm gonna go ahead and brown my meat. Maybe not like too brown, but enough to give it flavor. Because you all know flavor's the name of the game. All right. That gives us time to brown the chicken on the other side. And when I finish browning this chicken, this is gonna go into our casserole dish along with other things. So some of these might need to brown on more than one side, like more than two sides even. All right. All right. So while the chicken is cooking, we have to get other ingredients cooking. So what I'm doing here is getting ready the sauce. And I'm using cottage cheese for this. And it calls for 8 ounces or a cup of cottage cheese. So I have an old cottage cheese here. That's still open. I don't know how, it's not old, but it's open already. And what I'm trying to do is get it out of the container and into this half cup measure so that we can make sure we had a half a cup here, which I believe we do. Yep. You're taking a half a cup from the open container. And I like to blend my cottage cheese. I don't like that cottage cheese texture. So we're going to put it here in this Ninja cup. And we're going to blend this bad boy before we put it into our sauce. All right. And then we need another half cup, which I have here. I'm getting from this container, which is the new one I just opened. That's about a half cup. So that's also going in here. All right. And with this sauce, we're going to need some additional seasoning. And it calls for onion powder, garlic powder, and salt to taste. Okay. So we're going to do a half teaspoon of garlic. I've already put so much in the chicken. A half teaspoon of onion. And not that much sauce. Maybe some more Goya adobo. And what I'm going to do is blend this into the cottage cheese and then add 8 ounces of our Alfredo sauce. And we're using this Rana Alfredo sauce. And because it says use or freeze by 110. So 25. I have like some left in here, but we need 8 ounces. So I'm going to weigh out 8 ounces and the remainder, I guess I'll freeze or something. Be right back. Okay. I was talking to myself the entire time I was making this, which is highly annoying. All right. What I did was I put the broccoli on the bottom. It calls for a pound of broccoli. I don't know if I had a full pound, but this is how much I had. I had like 2 heads of broccoli, so I used that. I cut off the florets and I cut them up a little tiny bit, but not much. Then I layered on the chicken pieces, and I tried to layer on the chicken pieces, the brown chicken that we cooked earlier, evenly. Then I put on a cup and a half of Parmesan. which I had in the refrigerator. So I put a cup and a half and tried to spread that out as evenly as I could throughout the casserole. And then I put a cup and a half of fat-free mozzarella. Fat-free because that's what I had in the fridge. And actually, part skim would have been better. And because my mozzarella was fat-free, I spritzed it a little bit with some of this olive oil spray. So just to give it enough, whatever it needs to melt. Now, this goes into the oven, a 400-degree oven for 35 minutes. And then if it needs browning, I can broil it for 1 or 2 minutes after that. And I'll let you know what it looks like when it comes out. And as I was saying, during the time that I was talking to myself, thinking that I was recording, I like the fact that this uses Parmesan cheese because Parmesan cheese is really high in protein. For example, this Parmesan cheese is 110 calories for a quarter cup, which means I put a lot of calories in here. But each serving has 9 grams of protein. So that's really high for a cheese. Compare that to this mozzarella, which is fat-free. Actually, this is even better. This mozzarella, because it's fat-free, has only 45 calories per quarter cup and 9 grams of protein. So this is a very high protein dish with all this cheese in here. Okay. Wow. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven and calculate these calories. What was I thinking? Anyway, season. I messed up. I was supposed to put in, which is the Alfredo sauce, and then put the Parmesan cheese over that. So I'm trying to rectify that, but don't ask me how that's going to happen. Oh my goodness gracious. How ridiculous am I? I was wondering why it looked kind of dry. It is so not easy being a maniac, let me tell you. Uh, so this is the Alfredo cottage cheese mixture that I made earlier. Oh my goodness gracious. Hmm. I'm laughing at myself. You know what? You have to be able to laugh at yourself. All right. Because if you don't, I mean, life is too short. You have to be able to laugh at yourself. Because if you don't, you'll just cry. And actually, I'm not going to cry because this is hilarious. So picture me making an Alfredo pasta bake or chicken bake without even putting the Alfredo sauce in here. Like, what was I thinking? Okay. Oh my God. Not easy being a maniac. Y'all, I couldn't have planned this, okay? Like the comic relief in this video is natural. This is the real me, y'all, again. And this is what you get for cooking and having other things on your mind. What was I thinking? Okay. So to make up for this, I'm gonna have to put because I have hardly anything left in this bag anyway. In this bag of mozzarella. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put a little bit more mozzarella over the top. Oh my golly. So what was I thinking? All right. I'm gonna put this bad boy in the oven and call it a lifetime. Now, just so you can see what I'm working with, I decided to go ahead and let you get a peek into my freezer. But this is footage that I didn't release from the first week. I meant to, but I just didn't include it. So you can see what I've been working with. So without further ado, let's go see the hot mess that's my freezer. Now we're in the hot mess that is my freezer. And let me tell you, it was a really good exercise to go through this freezer and figure out what the heck is in here. I apparently have enough organic or grass-fed ground beef to kill people, which to fuel my protein dreams alone over the the next 2 months. But I also have things like ground turkey. I have tons of vegetables, and I have so a lot of frozen vegetables. The yuca that I make that breakfast dish with. Things of that nature, bananas that I just kind of stuck in here with the peels on. Don't ask me. I apparently have bread products, and I have stuff in here that I don't even know what. So everything from chicken to whatever, but it's like very tightly locked in here. I also discovered that I had a lot of prepared foods like Kevin's, like Kevin's entrees. I don't know if you've seen him in the grocery store, but he tends to make like chicken dishes and stuff that's already pre-made and pre-seasoned. So I have shrimp and stuff in here, more yuca, things of that nature, sausages. So basically, and I also have nuts and some active dry yeast. I don't know what it's doing in the freezer, but hey. So basically, I have a freezer full of stuff that I could use for this challenge, which is pretty good. And it means I won't be hurting for basics, basically, to cook with. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss another video. And you can see other people who are participating in the challenge by looking for that hashtag 3 Rivers Challenge or 3 Rivers Challenge 2025. So hopefully you'll see that. And if you have any questions, if you have any requests, things you want me to cook or whatever, let me know in the comments. And let me know if you're participating in the challenge and what did you cook this week? All right. So I'll see you in the next video. Take care.